Hollywood, winter 2023. When everyone was still talking about Jamie Dornan's peaceful family life, a leaked photo from the northern Italian countryside sent the entertainment world into a rocking frenzy. In the photo, Dornan, as elegant as a gentleman from a classic novel, was holding hands with a strange woman, their eyes burning the space around them. The girl's identity was quickly hunted down by netizens. Her name was Elisa Moretti, a perfumer living in seclusion in the Amalfi region, famous among the European elite for her ability to mix scents from memories. Fateful encounter. When perfume calls the name of a heart. Jamie met Elisa when he came to Italy to prepare for a role in a biopic about a 19th-century poet. Elisa was invited to be the scent consultant for the main character, described as having the smell of early wind and cold smoke. What no one expected was, Jamie was enchanted by Elisa, not by her beauty, but by a bottle of perfume created from his own unfinished dreams. I smelled my childhood, I smelled the pain of losing my mother, I smelled the dreams I had abandoned on the sets. Jamie said in an interview later, tears welling up in the corners of his eyes. Love in the dark, overcoming the glory and scandal. They loved each other like two lost souls who finally found each other in the midst of a chaotic world. Jamie quietly returned to Italy many times, living simple days in Elisa's small workshop. No flash, no red carpet, no social media. Just the smell of oak, the sound of rain falling on the tin roof, and love like a rustic but poignant symphony. But then, everything fell apart when paparazzi discovered a handwritten note that Jamie had left in his Venice hotel room, in which he wrote, "If this is a sin, I will commit myself to a prison called Elisa." The world was shocked. Jamie's wife at the time, Amelia Warner, had never shown any signs of a rift with her husband. The media exploded. The sexiest man on the planet betrayed? Love is like perfume, but can it evaporate? Unexpected ending. When love is forgiven. In 2024, Jamie made his first public appearance after the scandal at a concert in Paris. Not to promote the film, not to apologize, but to read a poem. The poem he had written for Elisa. There, his ex-wife, Amelia, suddenly appeared, smiled and said, "Jamie is a good man. He just forgot that he deserved to be happy." Jamie and Elisa never married. They chose to live in Amalfi, away from the limelight. Elisa opened a secret perfume brand called Lune d'Argent, Silver Moon, limited to those who have been broken-hearted. And Jamie? He stopped acting, but still occasionally wrote music, still sat by the window of his workshop, and always wore the same perfume, Elisa's scent, the scent of love that shook the world, but only the two of them understood. Part 2. The Last Pages of a Fragrance. Jamie Dornan's unpublished memoir. In the spring of 2025, at a vintage perfume exhibition in Florence, a sealed envelope was displayed in a glass case. Not a centuries-old treasure, but a hand-printed manuscript, titled, The Last Pages of a Fragrance, by Jamie Dornan. The media was in an uproar. People thought he had completely withdrawn from the spotlight, but no. The memoir that no one dared to publish, and why? Jamie wrote this book during his 2 years in Amalfi, not to tell of a romance, but to ask for forgiveness, from himself. He confessed, "I didn't leave my old life behind because I loved Elisa. I left it behind, because I couldn't bear to live without being myself." Jamie explains that Elisa is more than just a lover, she's an icon. A symbol of creative freedom, of raw emotion unchecked by PR, contracts, or audience expectations. In his diary, he describes feeling manipulated like a puppet in a suit after the 50 Shades films, despite his glamorous and successful appearance. "She was the perfume, I was the empty bottle." Jamie tells of nights when Elisa mixed the perfume while he quietly wrote the lyrics. Of dawns when the scent of orange blossom and rosemary permeated the sheets, creating a world that no longer belonged to Hollywood. But then, like all good stories, there was a scratch. Elisa discovered she had early-onset Alzheimer's, at just 34. The scent, the thing she had mastered like a genius artist, began to betray her. She can't tell the difference between woody and cinnamon scents, and mistakes jasmine for cigarette smoke. For a woman who lives on memories and scents, this is a death sentence. Also in the memoir, Jamie writes, "I didn't lose Elisa. I watched her disappear, little by little, every day." They decide to keep it a secret. Elisa asks Jamie to leave Amalfi, before he can remember only a non-existent Elisa. But he refuses. Jamie stays until she no longer recognizes him. He lies every day, that he is a flower delivery man, a distant cousin, an Italian psychiatrist. Finally, when she can no longer remember the scent of the perfume she once created, Jamie knows. The last scent has disappeared. Epilogue. Returning, not to live, but to record a love that has evaporated. In 2025, Jamie sends the manuscript to Elisa, in an empty perfume bottle. He left no signature, no date. Just a small inscription on the cork. "If you don't remember who I am, believe that I loved you more than anyone has ever known you." Then Jamie disappeared. No one knew where he was. Rumor has it that he was living on a small island near Greece, writing instrumental music on an old guitar. Others said he was holed up in a monastery, where the scent of incense was the only thing that remained in his memory. The memoir has yet to be published, but publishers are speculating that it will be the last savor of an era of fairy tale love, something the world is increasingly losing. Part 3: The Return of Fragrance. When love returns from the fragments of memory. Florence, 2026 legendary perfume auction. One of the biggest fashion art events in Europe in 2026 takes place at the Pitti Palace Museum, Florence. Theme: The Last Scent. Legendary, unique, lost or only appeared once in history, perfume bottles will be auctioned. At the center is a small wooden box, inside is a bottle of perfume, Lune d'Argent unnamed version. According to the curator, this is a perfume sample that Elisa Moretti created but never released. No label, no code. Only the scent remains. When the lid was opened, the audience fell into a state of silence. One feels as if one has just wandered into one's own memories, old memories that are shapeless, but clearer than ever. Some burst into tears, some bow their heads in silence, some mumble the name of an old lover. And then, a voice rings out. "That's my scent. Or at least, the one who loved me." Elisa appears, not as someone who has been saved, but as a flame that has never been extinguished. Elisa walks into the auditorium, her hair is now streaked with silver, her eyes are no longer sparkling as before, but her gaze is brighter than ever. It's not that she remembers everything, it's that she just realized what she forgot. "The doctor said I can't fully recover. But there's one thing I've never forgotten, even though my brain can't store it. The feeling that I was someone's whole world." Jamie returns, like a living ghost. No one has seen Jamie since the exhibition last year. But as Elisa walked to the central podium, a man in a fedora and a rough-hewn coat stood up from the crowd, silently removing his old leather glove. Elisa looked at him, and she said, "Are you the one who told me that perfume has a heart?" "No," Jamie replied softly. "You are the heart of all scents." The room seemed to hold its breath. The livestream camera disconnected. Social media exploded with the hashtags. Hashtag the scent reunion. Hashtag Jamie and Elisa forever. Hashtag memory is a scent. Epilogue: The scent that never fade. Jamie and Elisa did not live happily ever after in a fairy tale. But they decided to stay in Florence, opening a gallery called Memoir, The Myth of Memory. They did not mass-produce perfume, create only one scent a year, dedicated to those who have lost their memories, because of love. Elisa doesn't need to remember who Jamie is. Because every morning when she wakes up, she smells her heart on her pillow. And Jamie still writes, still loves, and always says, "I don't need her to remember me. As long as she is still the person I loved, that's enough.